You hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/inkdependence keeps this channel ad-free. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and it is November early on, and so it's time to talk about what I was using in October, look back at some of the products that I've tried and that I've been trying out over the last bit, and let's get into this. So first thing is I've been using these endless Halloween pens. I actually have two of them that are Halloween themed. This one is called Halloween Spooks, which is very fun. So it was put together with illustrations from Attilas Lutus. You'll find that in my video about these from Halloween-ish time last month in October. These are Opus 88 mini pocket pens, and they're done in collaboration with this program that Endless Pens has called the Hatch program that gets together with artists of various kinds to put their stuff on pens, which is really fun. And this is very cute. I've got an ink in here called Wuthering Heights. I'll have a review for that coming out soon. So, you know, let's have to wait and see how I like it in here. I have another one called Illusions, and I frankly can't find it on my desk right now. The illusion is that it's not here, but it definitely is because I was just using it. So I don't know. It's rolled away. I will find it. But yeah, these little pens are pretty interesting. I thought they were going to be way too small, but they're perfectly okay for short writing periods at the very least. They do post, so you can make them longer if you like, but the cap spins a little bit. I don't love that, but it's totally, I can totally deal with it. Although you shouldn't unscrew the cap, or the blind cap, all the way and then try to post it, because that will make it just pull off. Okay, there we go. Now we're back in business. Woo! All right, that was almost a disaster. All right, next up, this is the thing I've been using for the last month or two. This is something I got from Sugar Turtle Studios. This is the... All right, can I open it to the first page? Yeah, good. This is their half B5 sheet notebook, which is pretty great for having underneath your keyboard or right here in the middle of your hands while you're typing away. It's a great size, and this paper is frankly extremely good. I've got some stuff written on this page, but yeah, look at that. No problem at all with fountain pens. No bleeding, no spreading, no feathering. Even when you just put like a big old splotch down, you're not going to have that come through. That's really impressive work for this. This is great paper. Definitely go find these over at Sugar Turtle Studios on Etsy. I really like this stuff. Plus, this cover is great. Next up, I've been using this ink, and we'll probably talk about this when I get to my currently inked stuff, but this is that Kuro, Kuro ink from Platinum, which is just ultra black. And it for sure is ultra black. So let me just give you a little scribbly scribble here. Extremely dark black ink. No, like, not really any reflection coming off of that. No sheen, nothing. It is just dead black, which is pretty cool. And I've had it in this Schon design pen for a little bit, just because it kind of makes me happy to have the disjunct between the super bright body of the pen and the ultra dark ink inside. Now, I have not tried to clean this ink out of the pen yet, and I want to do that before I do a review of this ink. But I don't think it'll be a problem as long as I use distilled water. Should be okay. So yeah, so far I'm really liking this Chokuro. Next up, I've been trying a bunch of these little squares of paper that I got from Yamamoto at the San Francisco Pen Show. I got 5 of them, and so far I've used 2. This month I've been trying out these little LightForce squares. These are actually really nice. I just kind of keep a few of them on my desk. This one I haven't used yet, but it'll probably go in a book as a bookmark or something, and then I'll write notes on it, that kind of thing. But I did this one with just a bunch of different inks on it just to see how they reacted, and they act very well. I think it does eat sheen a bit. There's no sheen coming off this Baraje, and there should be, so it's kind of deadening that a little bit. And I'm not really getting the color shift or multicolors in this Sailor Mano Koke. I kind of expected more from that, but plenty of shimmer showing up there, no problem at all. No bleed through, barely any show through. So not great for sheen, but really pleasant to write on. It has a nice feel to it. You can see a little bit of that texture there on the camera. I think it feels really nice under the nib, so I'm liking that. I think that's pretty good. There you go, that's LightForce. You can check that out at Yamamoto. Next up, a couple of not fountain pens that I've been using, and that's these. These are Sakura jelly rolls, and I got these during my, I don't know, Amazon big deal days or whatever they call it. I did a little video for that, and I found out that they make retractable Sakura jelly rolls. I love the jelly roll. I think the jelly roll is just, it's such a pleasing pen to write with. It's a very dense gel pen. They do great stuff with shimmers and metallics and like neons and all kinds of cool stuff. I really like the retractable one though, because you can take this refill out and put it in some other fancier like machined pen bodies. It's very close to a bunch of other refills, and so it will fit some, although not all, of your machined pen bodies. So you know, that's pretty nice. While I like this body for this pen quite a lot, I like this one more. This is a modern fuel pen. These are really nice and adjustable. You just take out this little set screw here that works as the knock, and you can take off this back part. There's a little set screw in the bottom of that that lets you set lengths and that sort of thing for the refill inside. You can use a huge number of refills, including this super bright blue jelly roll that I've got in here now. And it's a very fidgetable pen. This is a great machined pen. So you can find this from Modern Fuel. They have changed ownership, but I don't think the pens themselves have changed. So yeah, really, really good retractable pen there. And it'll totally take this jelly roll with bright blue ink, which is just very fun to use. All right. And last up, before we get into some currently inked or what I inked this last month stuff, I've been using these transparent Post-it notes. These are another thing that I picked up from that Amazon big deal day, and it came with a whole bunch of them. They're kind of short stacks of Post-it notes. Like it's not a very thick stack of Post-it notes really, but they are extremely thin. So maybe it's a comparable number. I actually don't know, but these are really interesting. So I want to show you what I've been using them for. I've been reading this book for the last few days, and yeah, this is technically a November thing, but I started using these last month, so it counts. And what I've done is I've just taken a few and put them on the inside cover here. You can't even really see them. And some of them I've cut into strips, which is a thing I will do a lot of times with these kinds of Post-it notes, because I don't always want the full-size note. I want like a smaller version of it. And so these I just cut into a whole bunch of strips. And the reason I cut them into strips is that in playing with these, I've kind of found that they are not great for writing text on. It's not that they don't take ink well. They take ink surprisingly well. The deal is they're transparent though. And so when you have them taken off the page, which they come off very cleanly and they don't pull the text off, which is important, you can totally read that. And if you take the text and you go like this, you can sort of read what you wrote here, but it's not great. Like that's not the optimum way I think to use these. Another good way to use them is like this, where you kind of bracket off a piece that you want to have, something you would write in a margin. They're super good for marginalia, but they're also massive. So I kind of wish they were smaller, and that's why I cut them into sheets. And then there's this other thing you can do with them. Let me find one. They take highlighter extremely well. And as a library book, I don't want to highlight in this library book. It is brand new, but I have this little sheet right here. You can probably see it right there. And it's just a transparent piece of Post-it that you can just use as a highlighter. So that's why I cut them into strips. And I can actually go smaller. The only thing to be careful of is you don't want to accidentally highlight in the book, right? That's what we're trying to do. So you're going to want to put something at the edge to tell yourself where that highlighter should stop, so you don't overshoot. Although I guess I could just take strips and just draw a line on it and then like use that as a I don't know, I'm ready to go, and just put it in there and don't even have to take a highlighter with me. That'd be kind of interesting. So these are some endnotes from this book. I don't love endnotes because they're hard to find. You have to like put a bookmark or something, but this has worked really well. I have just highlighted on this and then wrote a couple little lines here saying what these are about, and then I can come back and find those things later when I want to find them. Just make sure you let your highlighter dry. Don't like I put my finger on it to make sure that nothing comes up, because I don't want to get it on the facing page. So do be careful of that, but otherwise super good for that usage right there, especially if you're using like a library book or something of that nature. So yeah, really good for that kind of stuff. Also, I'm really enjoying this book. I'm like in chapter 1 still, but it's called The Battle for Your Brain, Defending the Right to Think Freely in the Age of Neurotechnology by Dr. Nita A. Farhani. She is a professor professor of, I believe, law and philosophy at Duke right now, and is really interested in this kind of neurotechnology type stuff. And this is a fascinating book. So I don't know, check it out at a library near you, or buy it. I guess it's not terribly expensive as far as books go. All right, now let's get into our currently inked or have been inked in October stuff. Here we have, first thing I inked up this month was Robert Oster's $10 green. This is a really nice green ink right here. Ran through that one already. I've already refilled that pen. I'm really liking that Esterbrook Raven. It's pretty great. Also, my Kasama Tala has this really nice pigmented Bungu box ink in here called Eternal Sunset, which is sort of a light-ish red. It's not a super dark red, but it's kind of bright and sunsetty. Maybe a skosh orange, but really it's identifiable, I think, as a red and not an orange on the page. Anything else here? Oh yeah, and the Opus 88 that I just showed y'all before. This is Wearingeul Wuthering Heights from a couple of different pens. I like it better in this one than I do in this one. It's just better in this broad sig. It's kind of denser and that sort of thing than it is here in this broad nib. So interesting how that works. Next up, look, I inked up a lot of stuff this month, and I have no apologies. Next up, I did Andurilium Vampire Squid Red, which was interesting. I filled this up, and then I noticed that it was kind of dark, and it kept getting darker, like this. So that is not what it should look like. And so I took that converter off and stuck it on a whole different pen. And yeah, this is the color that it's supposed to be, a nice bright red and not this kind of duller red. What had happened is that this ink, or this section of this pen, this ST Dupont Defy, is actually really hard to clean. I've been having a hard time getting ink out of it. I'm gonna have to, like, I don't know, use pen flush or go to more drastic measures perhaps, because it must have had something dark in it that was sort of bleeding into the ink over time. But this from the converter, still totally fine, so that's good. Next up, Platinum Chou Kuro. Really like that one. It's a great black ink. This one is Wearingeul Path, and I put this in another Opus 88, which is a Halo. This was Brad Dowdy's Penaddict Halo pen from Opus 88, and I have two different notations here. This is what it looked like when I just sort of dipped the nib, because it is an eyedropper pen, just like the rest of the Opus 88 pens. I didn't fill it through the nib, right? So instead of waiting for the ink to go to the nib through the feed, which can take a while, I just went ahead and dipped it in the path and then wrote this. And you'll notice that there is barely any shimmer. There might actually be zero shimmer in this sample right here. But after a bit, once the actual shimmer and the actual ink from the pen started getting into the nib, it is just like so much shimmer. It is no longer just this kind of swampy green, which I do love, but it has this very intense gold overtone from that shimmer. Really good. So I've given myself a little extra note there. Next up, FC Model 3 with a steel double broad. They've just come out with the double broads at Yovo, and so I got a couple of those. I had Audrey grind a sig onto one of them. So I have Kobe 36 Sakamachi Indigo, which is a beautiful medium blue on there, kind of denim-y a little bit in this double broad. And then this this Tasha Corinth Pink. This is Tasha Lip Color ink, I think is what that series was called. Beautiful Corinth Pink. Really like that a lot. That was suggested by my friend Becky on the channel here, and she was right. That is a great ink. Next up, Van Ness and Robert Oster's Free Spirit. This is a very light blue ink, kind of a light sky blue, and it has purple shimmer in there. And this is a very meaningful ink to the Van Ness folks. There's a whole story behind it. It is beautiful. Go check that out. Then next up, this Keras Vertex, which is a nice orange pen that Audrey picked up for me at the Dallas Pen Show this year. I inked it up with this ink and then forgot to write it down. Fortunately, I did remember. I made some other notes with it, and I happened to write down somewhere else what it was. So this is Color Traveler Happy Yellow, which Audrey also got me from Van Ness, and that is kind of a yellowy orange, totally readable, very nice orange. Definitely check that one out. And that is it for October. Now we're getting into November, so we'll look at those next month. But this has been a little view into the things that I have been using this last month. Hit me up down below. What have you been trying out this month, or what did you see in this video that you're like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that before, I'd like to try that? What did you see? What did you think? Hit me up down in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And hey, maybe think about becoming a patron. YouTube is going to be forcing me to put ads on things very soon. So if not on this video, I actually don't know when it's going to happen. But when that happens, I'm going to try to post videos over on my Patreon page. And for patrons, they'll be ad-free. So if that's a thing you're into, definitely go over and join the Patreon. Patreon.com/inkdependence keeps this blog, or at least some videos, ad-free-ish. YouTube is taking a little bit of that power away from creators. So definitely do that. And I will see y'all in another video. Check out those affiliate links down below, and I'll see you later. Until then, peace out.